Hello and welcome to our video for the Warming House team project. I'm Carter. I was tasked as being the one of the team members of Team 4, along with Jamie, Matt, Nate, Rom, and Sam Denny. So we completed the Warming House project early in, I believe it was mid-September. And as an introduction, I'm just going to go over some of our members and then what their task was. So first of all, Jamie was our team leader. So he kind of just kept everyone together and was responsible for keeping up with dates and making sure everyone was in line with everything. Matt Lyons was he was kind of our contact for people outside. So for example, in planning, so he went to the Warming House to plan our meal the week before we went, and he also organized all that with Alice Miller Nation and did all the outside stuff. Me personally, I was the communicator, so my big thing was letting everyone know when we were going to meet, when, reminding people of assignments were due, and just kind of keeping the group connected through words, so that everyone was on the same page. Nate Rom was a researcher, so he did a lot of the research before we planned our meal and some of the research after everything. So just kind of figuring out what a good meal would be, what you could use with the materials we had, what would be something good to fix. And finally, Sam Denny. Sam, he did drop the class, but he pretty much did almost the whole project with us. So he went to the Warming House, and he was kind of all around, just did everything for us. Not really a specific role for him, but he was helping everyone else with their role, which was a huge help for all of us.
How did you prepare for your visit to the Warming House? So Jamie, as our leader, decided that it'd be best if we were all on the same page all the time. There's no miscommunication between any of us. So we decided that we were going to meet a few times a week, 2 to 3 times, just to make sure that we were all on the same page and all of our ducks were in a row. So in the group, I was the contact person. So I called up the Warming House a few days before our Warming House meal date. And I got on the line with John, who's the manager that day, and he said, "Sure, come on down." So I came roughly 45-ish minutes early before that group that day was supposed to get started. And he walked me through the building, showed me how everything runs, and then he brought me down into the basement and showed me all the inventory that they had. And he explained to me, "Hey, if you guys are thinking about what you want to make for your meal, here's the ingredients that we have that we really need to get rid of." So I brought that information back to Carter, who's our group communicator. So he took all this info and expressed it to everybody in the group. And then Nate Rand actually spoke up about what our best options should be as far as food insecurity goes, as he was our research person. So that being said, I again was the contact person. So I called up the Warming House later that day and said, "Hey, I think we're going to do this meal if that's okay with you." So that all worked out, and our meal was good to go. From there, Jamie, as our leader, he expressed to us that we need to figure out how we're going to get there. We have all the pieces in a row, but the problem is we can't make the meal if we're not there. So Jamie was critical in getting people rides to the Warming House and making sure that all of our members were present for us to properly execute the meal project. How did you address the 4 management functions? Once we got our group together and we figured out who was going to be in our group, we thought that it was best for us to divide and conquer. No one person should have too many roles. So since there was 5 of us and there's 4 functions, we were just going to have everybody take up one role, which makes the most sense, and maybe 2 people might have an overlapping role. So from there, we decided that Jamie was going to be our group leader, and he was going to assign tasks, and he was going to make sure all the dates were good for the group, whether it be the Warming House or meeting sometime during the week. He was kind of the overseer of everything and just making sure that all the moving pieces were well oiled. Matt, me, I was the contact person, so I got in contact with John, the manager, and Alice about making sure that our meal was up to standards, and making sure that when we actually got down to it the day of, there would be no surprises. And then Carter was our group communicator. Carter and Jamie talked a lot. Carter was responsible for making sure everything was good communication-wise, whether we're communicating in person, over email, or on Snapchat, making sure that there's no lack of communication and, again, everything runs smoothly. And then Nate ran, he was assigned research, so throughout all of this, he was researching what is food insecurity, and how we should build our meal around that to make a healthy meal for the warming house. And then lastly, Sam, who did drop out of our group, he was kind of like a sweeper in terms of soccer. He filled in wherever help was needed. So if Carter needed help communicating to the group, say Carter couldn't communicate for some reason, Sam would step in. Or if Nate says, I'm having trouble figuring out this topic research-wise, Sam would also help with the research aspect of things. And if I ever had a problem with communication to Alice or John, as far as the contact person goes, again, Sam would step in. So that's how we decided that we were going to address the 4 management functions, make sure no one is overloaded, and divide and conquer was the best plan.
How did the work at the warming house go? Well, when we first got there, they gave us the rundown of what needed to be done and where everything was. We started off by cutting up vegetables, prepping the bread, prepping the chicken, and then once you finished what you were working on, you would help someone else, or you would start a new job to work on. And then, after we finished all the jobs, we were ready to prep the meals. We made an assembly line. Someone would put napkins, forks, and spoons into the bag, pass it down, the next person would put desserts, the next person would put in drinks, and it would go all the way to the end, where they'd tie the bag up, put it on the cart, and be ready to pass out to the customers. And then cleanup, we all pitched in, did our own jobs, where 2 people would be cleaning dishes, the others would be wiping down the place, and other people would be putting stuff away after it's washed. The work at the warming house, I would say we did a pretty good job and wouldn't really change anything we did.
Hey, I'm Jamie. I'm going to talk about some of the challenges and the unexpected moments. I would say probably some of us, including myself, didn't really know how to cook some of the things. So it was a little unexpected. Like, there were beets that we had to make, and I'd never really tried them or heard of them before. So that was a little unexpected, but making the food overall, it was just a good time. Sometimes we had to worry about if we had stuff in the oven for too long and kept on checking on that. But overall, I think most of the things we pretty much planned for, but other things were less planned and more unexpected. And some of the good lessons that we learned, I would say, was just to keep in mind that you're doing it for other people, and you're pretty much just trying to keep a smile on your face, because this is helping people that are in need during a tough time. So it's important to just keep a smile on your face and make sure that they know that you're enjoying what you're doing, and you should be enjoying what you're doing. And as far as the food insecurities go, I think it's good that the warming house, they provide new meals every day. They don't really repeat many things, just to accommodate for all people. So yeah, I think it's good that they have their menu planned out beforehand, and they make sure they don't repeat stuff over and over again, in case people don't really like that meal for the day. So yeah, I think they do a pretty good job of having a good variety of food overall.
So finally, one of the questions, the final question was, would you volunteer again? And I can speak for myself and what everyone else in the group has told me. I think we really enjoyed our experience at the warming house. It was something that I know I personally didn't really know what I was getting into, as I'd heard about the warming house. Like I knew in similar projects like that, but having never been there, I didn't know what to expect. But overall, it was a lot of fun. It was, time flew by. We were always busy, and it's something that that after you do it, you really feel like you did something good. And for me, doing something like that is so much more fulfilling than, you know, sitting around in the dorm room on a Friday afternoon and not doing really anything or watching TV. I was so happy that we had the opportunity to go out to the warming house and really help the community. And I think all of the 4 other team members agree with that. We'd love to get together and take the opportunity to do it again. So overall, that's it. So that should do it for the project. But I think we really enjoyed this. I thought it was cool. It was a hands-on type thing where you really got to learn, the types of management and got to experience something that I and others had never done before. So overall, that'll do it for Warming House Team 4. Thank you.